good, everybody? Welcome to Outside the Playbook. I am your host, Josh, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 best off seasons in the NBA so far. Yes, there's going to be bias. Yes, there's going to be personal opinion. Don't get mad at me for it. Take your personal opinion, shine it up real nice, turn it sideways, and leave a comment. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, click the link down below in the description to get discounts on brands like Fanatics, Dad Gang, and Dubby. Enjoy the episode.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Now, one of the biggest conversations that everybody's having so far this offseason is, where is LeBron James going to finish his career? Where is he going to be playing basketball in the next season? And listen, either you retire or you get out of LA. There's no in between. There's no stay and see. There's no trade deadline. None of that. Get out. Okay. It goes back to what Draymond Green was telling Paul Pierce. You thought you was Kobe? They not going to love you like Kobe. And in this sense, it means you're not a homegrown Laker. So on your farewell tour, it's possible they're not going to give you the respect that you think you deserve. They're not going to show the admiration that you think you deserve. They're not going to shower you with praise like an all-time great should, someone who is arguably one of the greatest we have ever seen. So, where could you possibly receive that type of love? Go home. Go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Make sure that you are in a position to go to Cleveland. Jared Allen, underperformer in the playoffs. Darius Garland, he still doesn't really know how he fits next to Donovan Mitchell. So that is the perfect opportunity for you, Rich Paul, get together, strike up a deal, go to Cleveland. Get the farewell tour you deserve, where it all started, in your hometown, and still have an opportunity to win a championship, because the East, as everybody is saying, is wide open right now. But like I said, we're going to be talking about the 5 best teams this offseason. And to reiterate the disclaimer from the intro, there's going to be some bias involved. Let's start with the Miami Heat. All right. Talking about the Miami Heat, you can only think about all of the deals you didn't make. We were supposed to get Kevin Durant, supposed to get Giannis, supposed to get Dame, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, KD again, Damian Lillard again, KD again, and just recently we missed out on Damian Lillard once more. Now, why would I say the Miami Heat are 5th? All right, this isn't just bias, because if you got to think about it, look at it this way. There is a number of teams in the NBA trying their hardest to tank, get draft capital, get younger, and focus on development versus chasing championships. That is what the Miami Heat have already done. They're ahead of the curve. Look at this. You get rid of Kyle Anderson, Burks, Christopher, Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson, right? But then, in return, yes, you get Fontecchio. There's only upside because you don't really know what you're going to get from him. You draft Kasparis. You trade for Norman Powell. You send Kevin Love and you get Norman Powell, a guy that put up 20 a night, over 40 from 3, and you re-sign Davion Mitchell. Let's point out what the roster looks like right now, okay? You have Ware, Bam Adebayo, Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, and Highsmith off of the bench. You have a ton of defense. You have a ton of scoring in Norman Powell, Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, who can all get you 20. You have length. You have youth. You still have Jaime Jaquez and Jovic, right? You have a ton of youth on this team. Skill, talent, scoring, shooting, defense, and you have Eric Spoelstra. Yes, last year was shaky, 37 and 45. But how do you find your way in the playoffs as a 10th seed? Shouldn't be there. That's why people hate the play-in, got embarrassed, right? But the whole Jimmy Butler situation might have sidetracked you. Now you come in with a full season of focus, full training camp of focus, and you have a ton of weapons. And guess what? If it doesn't work out midway through the season, why don't you call Milwaukee or somebody else, see if you can flip Andrew Wiggins into something incredible, right? Those options are still on the table. That's why I have Miami Heat at number 5. Number 4, I have the LA Clippers. All right. You lose Coffee, Eubanks, Miller, Patty Mills, trade Norman Powell. Ben Simmons is doing God knows what, God knows where. He's probably working on another offseason video as he normally does around this time of year. But you look at it and you have the opportunity to say, on paper, we have one of the best off seasons out of everybody. We get Bradley Beal on a buyout from the Phoenix Suns. We get John Collins. We get Brook Lopez. We have Batum who's re-signed. We have James Harden who's re-signed. You might have a full offseason of a healthy Kawhi Leonard. On paper, this looks great. But in theory, Kawhi Leonard doesn't always stay healthy. Bradley Beal doesn't always stay healthy. James Harden has dealt with health over the past, 4 of the last 6, 4 of the last 5 seasons. He's getting older. So you got to start looking at it like, okay, this is what we're supposed to be on paper. This is what it might end up looking like if things don't go our way, on top of the fact that Bradley Beal just came from a situation where that was the exact case. On paper, you had 3 guys that can get you 30 and you missed the playoffs. I still got to say, on paper, these are the right moves. So, Clippers are number 4. Number 3, we can say Kevin Durant and just stop. But you look at their roster, all right? You look at what they lost. Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, Londale, Cam Whitmore, right? You look at what they lost and you say, what did they get? Clint Capella, Kevin Durant, DFS. The reason this is so important is you did not lose Sengun. You didn't lose Thompson. You still have Van Vliet. That's majority of your core. You still have Jabari Smith, Jayshawn Tate. You have everybody, and you bring back Steven Adams and Jeff Green. Great locker room guys. This team is still in prime position to make a run, and you add in what you needed. A consistent closer, a consistent scorer who is going to be efficient. Jalen Green can get you 20, but it's not going to be efficient, and it may not happen every single night, which is what you need in the playoffs. Clint Capella, Sengun, Kevin Durant, DFS, Steven Adams come off the bench, give you some minutes. Smith, Tate, Van Vliet. How do you contend with this team night to night in an NBA playoffs in the Western Conference if you're not the Oklahoma City Thunder? Does anybody else have an answer for this roster who is not named OKC? That is why this team is at number 3. Because Kevin Durant, 37, 38, doesn't matter. He still can get you 25, 6, 6, and borderline 50, 40, 90. That's all you need to tell me, because guess what? That's really all Houston needed. They have an identity. They have a style of play. They just didn't have 25 points in efficiency. They got that in Kevin Durant. Number 2 team on my list, the Denver Nuggets. It's just something about these moves that seems so perfect for this team. When you look at what they lost, Trey Alexander, Kankar, Hall, DeAndre Jordan, Michael Porter Jr. is the biggest one. Saric and Westbrook, they're free agents. But MPJ was the biggest one because you looked at their lineup and said, who has the most value, okay, out of everybody we want to get rid of? Aaron Gordon was probably on that list at some point. Jamal Murray probably was on the list. Could very much be on the list still, but as of right now, no, right? Who can we give up and get value in return, right? You bring back Bruce Brown Jr., Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, and Jonas Valanciunas. So you got back defense, and you still have shooting added. You have multiple ball handlers, and by hook or crook, I'm guessing Jonas Valanciunas is going to be the backup center this year, considering that they said, nah, bruh, you going to play. You going to play here. So I like what Denver did. And you still have Aaron Gordon. You still have Jamal Murray. And you still have arguably the best player in the entire NBA, a center that averaged a triple-double last season, who quite possibly, in a lot of people's eyes, even in mine, should have been the MVP of the league for the 4th time. Actually, let's do the math. Joel Embiid stole 1, so that should be 5. So you still got that. This last one is not exactly the team that's up here, is just an example, okay? I have the Detroit Pistons up here. The reason why I have the Pistons up here is because they represent the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, and the New York Knicks. One of those teams should be thinking, we got to take that leap to the conference finals this year. Boston Celtics made a ton of moves just to get below the tax, a ton of injuries, right? Milwaukee, so much uncertainty there. The Philadelphia 76ers, so much uncertainty there. Indiana Pacers are without their main guy, and Miles Turner also left. So much uncertainty there, right? These places have good coaches, but if I'm the New York Knicks, I have a Mike Brown now. That might attract some other key pieces to come play for you. If I'm the Detroit Pistons, you bring in LeVert, you bring in Duncan Robinson, shooters, ball handler, and that is a ton of space for guys like Cade Cunningham. We don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the roster because Malik Beasley is still dealing with some legal stuff, but I imagine if he wasn't, he'd be coming back. But if I'm Detroit, I'm thinking we're a couple pieces away from making a deep run in the playoffs. The Cavaliers, they are out of excuses. As is right now, they're out of excuses. All right. 65 win team last year, #1 seed. All of your ops are completely just dropping like flies right now. Let's say they do get LeBron James. Oh my God. You're going to the conference finals and you might get to the NBA finals in LeBron's potentially last season. You can't mess this up. Those 3 teams have got to be thinking conference finals or bust. Teams like Miami are probably thinking this is an opportunity for our young guys to get enough experience, get enough playoff experience, and then we can come back next year. Out west, like I said, Denver, Houston, Clippers, best 3. And then if I want to have an honorable mention, Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie still, Anthony Davis, and you draft the #1 overall pick, Cooper Flag. This has been a successful offseason for about 5 to 8 teams that I just named. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this year's NBA offseason. That's one more for the good guys.